In the world of e-commerce, the field of dreams, build it and they will come mindset of spinning up your first Shopify store and becoming immediately successful in the first few days, weeks, or months. It's kind of like buying a lotto ticket and thinking just because you have the ticket in your hand, you can kick your feet up and expect a windfall in the next few days. Now, the reality is far from that. It takes a lot of time and effort to configure your store, set up your products, and then move on to marketing, where you need to get your products in front of the right people in order to drive traffic to your store. Hey everyone, my name is Joe. Welcome back to The $1 Million Merchant, a channel dedicated to capturing my own personal journey using Shopify, and a place where we talk about all things Shopify from the merchant perspective. And in today's episode, I will be doing my very first interview with Matt Black, proud owner of WildPour.shop and a fellow member of the Effortless Ecom community. Welcome, Matt. Thank you for joining us.
Hey,
how's your day going, man?
Good. Thanks for having me. No complaints here.
Awesome. But feel free to complain. If you got any complaints? Glad to hear them. Will do. So why don't we kick things off with, introducing yourself, kind of where do you live, what do you do for a living, and I guess most importantly, what inspired you to take the leap into e-commerce and spinning up a Shopify store?
Sure. So yeah, as Joe said, my name is Matt Black. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I am engineering manager by day. Got my start going to college for graphic design, fell into software development, and did that for just over 10 years before moving into a management position. And, just kind of got to the point where, I love where I work, especially the culture and everything there is fantastic. People are phenomenal, but I don't want to work for somebody else forever. I feel like the only way that you really get ahead and hopefully find, the happiness that you're looking for is to do something for yourself. And so that's my ultimate goal, is just to figure out a business that works for me, that makes me happy, hopefully makes me money, and, puts me in a place where I'm, my own boss, and I kind of call the shots, and I do what I can to support me, myself, my family, and in a way that allows us, the freedom to go and do things when we want to go do things, but, spend the time that I want to on a business that I love.
Yeah, that's great. You just said my story. I want the same thing, man. Well, that's the whole background of being a manager. So it's just the whole wanting to kind of break free of that and create some sort of, residual income through selling products and, making money while you sleep kind of thing. And that's really
definitely the goal. Yeah.
I feel being a merchant.
Yeah. Especially in the case of online, being an online like Shopify store, the goal is to be able to make money passively. So once you get your stuff set up, you're making money in the background and you don't have to keep working on that same thing just to drive a sale.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the day I get that. I've seen people have it, some little Shopify thing where you can see the sales happening in the background.
Yeah.
Like, we're making more sales. That'd be cool. That'd be pretty cool to do it one day. Awesome. So before we jump into some more questions, I wanted to kind of take a minute to introduce everyone to Effortless Ecom, which is a community you actually had introduced me to. And so thank you very much for doing that. It's been great so far.
Yeah.
In no way are they sponsoring the video, but I just felt compelled to mention it. All the amazing work Flo Thompson and his team have put together in the community that they have created. I'm just going to show the community and then just maybe ask for your thoughts on the community here.
Sure.
What are your thoughts on Effortless e-commerce? Someone was like, I want to learn Shopify. Send them there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Effortless Ecom is great. I found their community through Instagram. It was just an Instagram ad. I looked at a number of people that, had been sort of like hawking their success stories and, saying like, hey, spend $1,500 in my course and you'll be a millionaire in no time. And what I found was that I just don't like that approach. I don't like the spammy websites that are like, 10 miles long and all full of testimonials and things. And it just feels like a lie, even if it's not. But I was kind of drawn to Effortless Ecom, and this was the first community I'd ever joined on School because of like the simplicity, and like there's a sample video there where Flo is talking in the video, and just the way he presents himself and his courses really resonates with me. Flo's personality resonates with me, so I just I felt like, why not give it a shot? It's not too much a month, easily something I can afford right now. And so I thought I'd maybe just join for a month, see how it was. And I think I'm 4 or 5 months in now on the platform, and it keeps growing, keeps getting better. I try to help out myself where I can now. I've gotten to know Shopify really well. So whenever somebody asks a question that I can answer, I try to beat flow to it. It's fun. There's some really fun people in the community that are, we have 2 calls weekly, 2 in-person calls weekly on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And we have about the same group that joins every time. And they're a great group of people that are there to learn, there to make things happen. And they ask phenomenal questions, and Flo gives great answers. He is just there to help everyone. He, is proving to be also a good friend, just somebody who we can talk to and, rely on professional opinion, but also like the perspective of, somebody that just wants to see you succeed. So no, I love the community. It's a great place to start. It's smaller than a number of other ones. There are a couple other communities I'm in that have maybe a few hundred more members than Effortless Ecom, and certainly some that have members that are more engaged, or more members that are more engaged. Like with Effortless Ecom, I think we've got 170 people. There's only a handful of people that post regularly, and I like sort of the smaller group that's talking all the time, because there's a bit more focus and you don't get lost in the shuffle of like, I have a question but there's 500 other people that have questions, so it feels a bit more personal and familial.
Yeah, and there's a lot when you're talking Shopify out from the merchant side. There's a lot of questions to ask. There's a lot of
so much,
everything from the design of the site to like, this Saturday's call is going to be about Facebook ads, right?
Yep.
And I think Flo and I are trying to schedule some time on Sunday to still open it up to the community also, but he's going to give me some time to kind of go through my side and have some questions I want to work through. And he was more than welcome to help me on and open it up. And so I might have 3 calls this week, which is amazing, right?
Absolutely.
Sweet. Okay. I'm going to put a link to Effortless Ecom in the description. So if you are interested, taking a look at it, by all means, check it out. And hopefully we'll see you there. Now, I'm going to, before I kick into your question specifically, I'm going to share your store. So let's see.
Sure.
Let's see. WildPour, right? Amazing. I see you changed the hero shop here too. Before
I make
a rotating kind of banner.
I did.
I love it because it's just you.
Yeah, so I had a rotating banner here. No problem. So this was actually one of my earlier hero banners that I've just recently gone back to. I did have a hero banner of rotating imagery that just sort of slid across the screen, and it would be 4 or 5 images that would slide across. And I had a comment from a couple people saying it made them feel motion sick, even though it was very slow. It was as slow as I could possibly make it. But another thing I found was that I didn't have enough room for like a nice tagline and some text to go along with it. So, because it was just hard to get that much text on top of the image. So I went back to this style where it splits the text in the image, and I can, give a nice intro text to the store.
Yeah, I do like it. I liked both. I have to be honest. I like the other one because you got to see some more mugs and you got to see it's fluid, it's movement. They're kind of like this. It's just big. The branding colors are there. The one mug, which I think is your bestseller, right?
It is.
Is kind of prominent there. Yeah, why not? It's your bestseller. Yep. It should be center stage, right? That
front and center right now. Yeah.
Exactly. So we both know spinning up a Shopify store, fairly easy to do, right? I mean, it's a matter of putting in some information, boom, next thing you know, you actually got a store, right? It's accessible from the web. Anyone can get to it. You add a product. You could probably set up the ability to purchase it in no time, right? But once that's done, the real hard and challenging work begins. It's clear from seeing your site develop over the last couple of months that you put a great deal of time and effort into the design of your store and how it looks and functions today. So my first question is, what are the key elements you focused in on after you spun up the store, and what have been some of the challenges you have faced along the way?
Sure. So one of the first things I focused on was making as many mug designs as possible. That's not advice I would suggest somebody else follow. I happen to watch a few YouTube videos from a guy whose name I can't think of off the top of my head, but his suggestion was just to make 1,000 designs of whatever it is that you're doing. Mugs, t-shirts, socks, underwear, whatever. Just make 1,000, put them out there, and one will click with somebody and you'll make $1 bajillion. I wish I hadn't taken that advice, or I wish I'd known a little bit better, possibly something that would work better in the beginning. But initially, my biggest focus was making a bunch of designs and making something of a Shopify store where I could present those designs. I was also under the impression that, it was going to be like the field of dreams. Once you make it, they will come. They won't. They don't know you exist. So you have to get up on top of the rooftops and just scream from the rooftops that you're here. Here's what you have. Come check me out, that sort of thing. But yeah, it is not the field of dreams. So getting started was definitely primarily focused on just, what is it that I'm selling? But it was also more of like, what is it that I like that I want to sell? Not necessarily what somebody else likes. And so not necessarily what the buyer wants to buy. So yeah, lots of discovery and learning.
Yeah. I almost feel like marketing 101 is like, what does the buyer want to buy? That's the kind of approach we need to take. Like, who's your customer? If anything we've learned, you have to document who's your customer, what are the pain points, what problems are you solving? Like, these are the things you have to understand in order to really target them. Obviously, you create a site, you put things up there. If they can find you, great. But as part of your marketing strategy, you're going to have to talk to the pain points. Like, what problem are you solving and how do you present that to them? And any ads that you might do or any organic posts as well.
Yeah. And then a couple of points.
Just from this particular mug. Okay, go ahead, Matt. I'll follow up later.
Sorry, I was just going to say a couple of the points you mentioned was, knowing your customer and figuring out who your customer is and solving for their pain points. I didn't do any of that when I first started. I didn't know I needed to do that. It's super obvious, like thinking about it and talking about it out loud. But when I got started, nope, didn't even cross my mind as to like who the customer was going to be. I just thought it would be everybody. Everybody needs a coffee mug. I'll sell to everyone because why not? Narrowing that focus and figuring out exactly like the type of people you want to sell to. Like if you're selling coffee mugs to everybody, that's great. But if you narrow that down to just like dog moms that love coffee mugs, find a niche that you can narrow down and like, let's play on the dog mug thing a little bit, or dog mom, like have mug with each style of dog, each breed of dog on it, and expand on that. You will find more success more quickly than trying to appeal to everyone. So if you would just like talked about that a little bit.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I really feel like it's the niche. If you can find the right niche, you could have a design printed on a t-shirt, coffee mug. I mean, my wife makes bracelets, and it's just kind of like finding the design, but also like, what is the niche? We were talking about designs for bracelets, and I came across some astrology signs. And these are beads. My wife makes beaded bracelets. Yeah. And so we found some really cool astrology looking designs that she could possibly turn into beads. And my mind just went, oh, there's a niche there. Like, so who are the people that would want to buy something like this, and how would I target those specific people? What groups would I join? What ads would I do just to target astronomy-based little bracelets versus, little butterflies and hearts and, ladybugs that she makes, which are beautiful. Once again, what's the niche there? That kind of niche is more like a kid's niche. And so, we'd have to target them. So really finding your niche, I think, is important. I know Shopify provides a selection of free themes, aesthetic, responsive, optimized, come with some pretty great features, but you opted to purchase a theme called e-commerce from Theme Forest. What was your thinking behind that decision? And would you, if you had to go back in time, make that same decision?
If I went back in time, I would probably make the same decision eventually, but it's not where I would start. I'd probably spend more time seeing if I could work with the themes that Shopify provides, whether it's Dawn or one of the other ones. I've played with them a bit. They're incredibly flexible. They're just really solid themes. They've gotten down like all of the, the speed factor too of their themes is just really fantastic. They know what they're doing there. They're very performant. They're super responsive. They've got lots of flexibility in terms of sections and what you can add to it. And a lot of the apps that are out there now are designed to work with like the Dawn theme and other ones just out of the box. But what I like about the direction I went with Theme Forest is that being someone with a design background, like I wanted something that offered a little bit more, but I also didn't really know what I was looking for. So I was trying to find a theme that said like, we offer everything. We, have really good, turnover in your checkout, and like you've got sticky cards and you've got rotating banners and you've got all these like bells and whistles, and that appealed to me because I didn't know what I didn't know or what I really wanted. But the Ecoma's theme has worked out really well, and it's offered me a lot of flexibility too, where I can like use my knowledge in CSS and HTML and, you know, manipulate the theme to where, you know, it looks and feels the way I want it to if I need to tweak it. But yeah, I do really love the theme that I picked just because it has a lot of bells and whistles. And as I've continued learning and building, I've come to appreciate those bells and whistles more. But at the time when I first started, it was just like, hey, this is pretty. It says it does a lot of things. I'm going to go with this one. So that was kind of it. But yeah, I think for anybody just getting started now, I would recommend using a free theme to get some experience in and just, you know, build from there. And then when it comes to a point where you're either not seeing results or you find a point where you're not able to do the things that you know you want to do, then change. Don't just pick up one of the paid themes off the bat.
Yeah, it's funny because every time I see your theme, I'm like, God, the last time we chatted, I was this close from purchasing the theme. And every time I'm trying to like re-emulate something or do something that I see on your site, I'm like, I should just buy the theme already. Just buy it already. You know, you just get a bunch. You just get all these additional design. Yeah, you get these design options and functional options that are just not present there. And I just feel like, oh, how do I get them? In the end, you can implement anything. You can just go out and buy an app, right? And so when you start tallying up, well, I want to do this thing. And so that's an app I got to purchase. And I want to do this thing. That's another app that has the monthly fee. And like these things, you could do it all in one shot, buy the theme, you know, get it done once, and then you don't have these monthly bills coming in for something. But but in the end, you're still going to have to use, you know, you're still going to have to buy an app at some point in time, whatever. You're going to have an idea that is thinking outside the box of that theme. Yep. You're going to have to find another an app to fix that. So, you know, a few months back, I actually hired a Shopify consultant to sit down with me, provide some feedback on our store. And the product page was one critical part of that discussion. And, you know, for obvious reasons, right? And so can you talk about your product page and what you've changed or enhanced along the way? And I'm going to pull up one of these mugs here. Why don't we just go to paper quilling mug here and go to the bestseller here. Okay, here we got. Yeah, love the product page. Great looking product page. And I've seen a lot of product pages already, so this is a pretty good product page.
It's gone through a lot of iteration. And this is actually a great spot where I got a lot of help from Flo because he helped me remove things that weren't necessary or, you know, encourage me to bring things up so that it was easier to purchase and easier to see things. So some of the changes I've made since I started was, you know, I originally had thumbnails down the left side and you had, you know, the primary cover image there, but it wasn't quite as big and prominent. Moved the thumbnails underneath of it so that it was easier to see that first image, and then you can change images. You know, got a review app and got some reviews at the top. So having those like stars at the top, even if it says no reviews yet, that's okay. You know, I've seen a lot of really successful sites with that. I've seen a lot of really successful sites that are even just 4 reviews, like what I have here. Even though I've sold 75, I think, of this mug, it's hard to get people to review things sometimes. So yeah, the reviews aren't necessarily indicative of how many, you know, that sold, but having something is better than nothing. But then the title was also something I had to work on. So here it just says hummingbird paper quilling. Originally, I had made titles that were more appropriate for Etsy because I also have a store on Etsy for WildPour. And with Etsy titles, you want them like really long, kind of verbose, like lots of keywords. And that's going to be, you know, alongside tags, like the title is going to be how people sort of find your thing here, your product. But on my product page, you know, you don't want like a 2-line, lots of garbled words that like hummingbird, accent mug, coffee mug, like 15 ounce, 20 ounce, and whatever, and blue, black, red, pink. It gets really obnoxious. So paring that back, I think, was really helpful and added to the clean, you know, aesthetic that I was going for. Making the price more prominent, rounding that too, I think is more appealing to people. So the cost of the mug is actually $17.99. That's how much it'll show as on the product page. But just rounding that to a whole number, I think is more appealing to a lot of people. They're like, oh, it's just $18. Okay. And then getting rid of some of the like extraneous like buy buttons that I had originally. So right now I've just got add to cart, but there was also like stuff about Shopify installments and a number of other things that were just pushing everything else down the page. So those things can come up later in the cart, but on the product page, you want that like add to cart button to be really prominent and right there. Another like really big, I think, driver that I've recently added is like the dishwasher safe, microwave safe, printed in the USA. Those badges there, those are just the highlights that I want people to see, because people are unlikely to read the description or to scroll down and read anything else about it. They're going to see those things. And especially for me, like getting a coffee mug, I want it to be able to go in the dishwasher and not get ruined. I want it to go in the microwave because I have kids and I might not get to my coffee for a few hours. So I want it to go in the microwave. And, you know, people want to know that their product was made in the USA, and we print our mugs here. And so, yeah, then going down, like I've recently broken down the description and key features and care instructions into like an accordion style menu. So it's all very accessible. You don't have to scroll down too much, and it's just right there. But another thing on my product page that came with the theme that I'm using is this sticky cart on the bottom. So you never lose access to that add to cart button. And then I guess following that, there's just,
I think I reached out about that the other day.
You did, yeah. Yeah, there are a number of apps that provide that if it's not part of your theme, but I liked that it was built in. It carries over, you know, nicely with the design styling and everything. But also like going further down the page, making sure you have any reviews that you've gotten on the page right there in prominence. They're easy to read, and having related products as well. So I've got like customers who bought this also bought, you know, section. So that just carries some more paper quilling style mugs to encourage, you know, people to check those out if they do happen to scroll down. But yeah, there's this product page has gone through lots of iterations. Those additional mugs down here weren't always there. And, you know, just the reviews weren't always there. They didn't always look like that. I've had other review apps where I didn't really feel like the design meshed with what I was going for. Yeah, just constant iteration and, you know, constant learning, looking at other sites, seeing what they're doing right, seeing how I can change what I'm doing.
A lot of work, a lot of compare and contrast. What is someone else doing? How does that look? You assume just by looking at it, obviously, if the site is doing well, it's just a matter of determining, is it actually doing well? Whatever their layout is, that should be the layout, right? That should be the layout that we're going for.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Okay. So your site looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Every time I look at it, once again, I'm just filled with the desire to take it and make it mine and just put my products there. You know, obviously I'm branding, but it's a beautiful design. Your products are aesthetic, unique, but we both know that some form of marketing is needed to drive traffic, right, to the stores, because the build it and they will come mindset, we know, is a fallacy. They won't come. You need to pull them to your site or direct them there. So can you talk about your marketing strategy? What have you done to market?
Yeah. So initially, as we talked about at the beginning, there was no marketing strategy. It was just this idea of like, I'll build it, people will find it, I'll make loads of money, everything will be happy. And then I sort of learned that wasn't the case, but ads were scary. So I went with creating a secondary version of this store on Etsy where there is a built-in audience already. So I have another Etsy store that I'd made last year, unrelated to coffee mugs, where I sell some 3D printed stuff and some laser engraved things. So I was already a little familiar with Etsy. So I figured I would just try that. I would maybe drive traffic through people buying things from me from Etsy. And that has worked to an extent. Like I definitely get some of my sales through Etsy. But since then, with the help of like Effortless Ecom and Flow, as well as some other communities, like I've dipped my toe into meta ads. And one of the things that I'm working on right now are the engagement hooks, like finding ways to communicate to customers like what it is that I'm selling. So I've got a couple ads right now. One of the ads that I use on Meta is actually just the picture of that paper quilling mug, the hummingbird one, and it's just got a good review underneath of it. And that has done pretty well. Like I've gotten a lot of engagement from that. I've had like reactions on the ad. I've had 500 or so people give it hearts and thumbs up. And I've had maybe 20 or 30 people comment on the ad and engage with it. And that's done pretty well. And it's driven sales. Like there's one person who I have who's been a repeat customer where she bought 2 of the hummingbird mugs just a couple weeks ago, got them, loved them, and then just 2 days ago bought 4 more as gifts for friends. So, and I talked to her, like I engaged with her, and she was just so excited to get them and to ask me questions about it and to be able to give those as gifts. So yeah, right now, and speaking of gifts, that is like the biggest change in my mindset of how to approach customers. Is before I was trying to figure out how I would sell a mug to a person. as like, let me rephrase that. Like, people don't buy mugs for themselves very often. It's just not something you get. If you do, you get them from the store. You get like a set of 6 mugs that all match and they're pretty. And that's what you buy for yourself and your wife or, whatever. But when you do buy a mug from a store like WildPour, you get it as a gift. And that was something I had to get my mind around after asking friends and family, like, what would make you buy something from my store? And that gifting idea came up again and again. And so that's sort of where I'm going right now with my marketing messaging, is like, get them a gift that lasts, get them a gift they're going to use on a daily basis, or, whatever, have sitting out, instead of something you gift somebody and it just gets tucked away in a drawer, which happens often, especially when you're getting something for someone who has everything and you're left with no other options. So just figuring out my own messaging and how I target people, and, continuing to evolve my own mindset of like what it is I'm going after and why somebody wants to buy something from me. Yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
It's interesting because people are buying them as gifts. Is that like the niche? They're not going to buy that for themselves. They're buying it as a gift. Have you considered doing something like adding, gift wrapping to it or something like that?
Well,
as an added cost?
I have considered that, but here comes the tricky part. If you're doing something like print on demand, that isn't an option for most print-on-demand products. You can't sell, something and have like Printify do gift wrapping for you. They're just not going to do that. I think there may be some, I'm not sure if Printful does it or Gelato or some other one. They may have gift wrapping options, but because Printify sort of shops out to other print studios or print shops, they're not going to enforce that sort of gift wrapping option for everybody that they use to print. If I was doing it in-house, absolutely. And that may be, a place that I get to eventually. I do have, an idea of how to make mugs. I make prototypes of the mugs sometimes. Yeah, so it's something that is certainly a possibility in the future, and something I may look into around Christmas, making sure that I can provide that sort of service for an extra $2 or $3. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I considered that too. We needed an option on our site, but you have to request it. You'd have to ask us. We don't have any pictures of like, this is the paper, this is it, just kind of thing. Let's throw it out there, see if anyone bites. So we know that success comes in many shapes and forms, right? And it's clear from your products, from the designs, from the products you store, the fact that a return customer bought 4 additional mugs, as gifts. You found some success in that area, but I'm sure the question on everyone's mind, or what they want to know, is just just how profitable has this store been and up to this point, and how are you doing month over month? Like, what do those sales look like?
Yeah, so I've been open for about 5 months now. I had a couple sales my first couple months to friends and family, so I wasn't really making anything. I was offering free shipping, so I was only making maybe $7 a mug, $6 a mug. That's certainly not going to replace my day job anytime soon. I've changed tactics a number of times as to like how much I'm charging, how I approach shipping. Right now I'm doing free shipping over $35, and that helps maintain some of my margins. And it's only been in the past couple months that I've started seeing regular sales, especially once I identified this hummingbird mug as my best seller and putting that out more prominently. And I first noticed it in Etsy, where I think I sold maybe 10. And I was like, hey, I'm finally selling mugs. This is really exciting. And then once I made an ad for that and got that onto Meta, sort of found my target audience, which was women 55 and over, seemed to really like the hummingbird mug. And going into that sort of paper quilling niche, I've started seeing sales. So right now, in the past 30 days, I've done $800, which has been really exciting to see after, only selling a few the prior months. So hopefully onwards and upwards. But, I think with the remainder of June, I think this will be my first $1,000 month, which is really exciting. So, maybe what I'll do next is make some ads that target some of the other niches and genres that I have available on the store. Like, I'm working on some 4th of July things right now, whether it's, mugs or some other travel drinkware stuff. And then we've got a number of holidays coming up. Summer's a big month, so maybe doing some advertising for like a 20% off sale for summer. But yeah, so this has so far been my most successful month, with hopefully hitting $1,000, and that feels like a really good place to start. And looking forward to continuing to grow, continuing to learn, and continuing to evolve what I'm doing.
Awesome. Congrats. So let's say someone you know, I don't know, family, friend, coworker says, hey, love what you're doing. I have an idea. I want to spin up a store, start selling something. They feel might have some market value as well. What advice would you provide to someone who's just about to take the leap and knows nothing about e-commerce, nothing about Shopify?
I think my main piece of advice would be don't give up. There is a lot of expectation around success when you start your store, especially because you see so many people on YouTube saying like, I just spun this store up 6 weeks ago and I'm already making $1 million. Those people, this is probably their 8th or 9th or 10th store that they've spun up and they've got the system down. But when you're coming into it fresh, you just have to understand that there is a metric ton of things to learn. You're going to be learning how to build your store from a technical perspective. You need to learn about design, like what looks good, what do people want to buy, what sort of messaging do you put on your store to, attract people and get them to stay, what story do you tell. You're going to learn about taxes. You're going to learn about budgeting and managing your money so that you can run ads. You're going to be learning about ads. You're going to wear a ton of hats so that you can find some success. And there is just so many things to learn, and you may not see sales at all for the first 6 months. And that isn't indicative of future success. That just says like, you've got to keep learning and keep pushing. The other thing would be product validation. Make sure whatever it is that you're selling, people actually want to buy. And if you're doing print on demand, you've got to, eat your own dog food, buy your own products, and take them to someplace like a farmer's market where you're selling them in person. Like start building that relationship in person and, getting yourself out there, showing, your face, like you're the face behind your brand, and making sure that, like I said, people want your product. Because if you don't have that product validation, that product fit, you're not going to succeed no matter how great it looks, no matter how spectacular your ads are. If nobody wants it, nobody's going to buy it. So yeah, product validation first, and just don't give up on the journey.
Got it. Is that something you did also? Print a bunch of mugs and go to a farmer's market, flea market and sell them?
It's not. And had I heard that first before I sort of found my footing, I think I would have tried it. And that's still on my list of things to do. It's just not something I've done yet. I actually have a ton of blank mugs in my garage because I do have the ability to print them at home. So that may be something I do in the future. But because I've already gotten to a place where my ads are starting to work, because I've found like an audience on Etsy and stuff, I don't feel like it's necessary as a first step for me right now, just because I've sort of already gotten past that. But I think I will definitely find success in more ways to grow by doing that. Yeah, I just hadn't heard that advice until I was already 3 or 4 months in.
I think I have from the very beginning. It's just, make sure that your product isn't like there's a market. Just because you have an idea and you have something, can't validate someone who's willing to buy it. It doesn't, you're going to go nowhere fast, right?
Yeah.
You're burning money through ads fast. So just knowing there's a market fit there. And what is that? Who is that? Who is your ideal customer, right? Maybe it boils down to that, going back to square one. Like, you have this product, you have to ask yourself, who is your ideal customer? And then see if you can get an ideal customer to actually want to buy it, right?
Yep.
All right, Matt, I think we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your experience, advice with myself and any other Shopify merchants that will be watching this. You clearly put in the work and are now seeing the results. Their props. That's good inspiration for the rest of us that aren't seeing those kind of results, myself included. I'm still one of those that we're not making a lot of sales. And how do we go about improving that? And I know I have to put more effort into certain areas, but good luck to your continued success. And I'll be seeing you in the Effortless Ecom community, where I believe you and I are like on the leaderboard. I think it's you and me. We're probably the most active people in the group at this point in time, which is great. And we got a call coming up on Saturday. Facebook ads. Really looking forward to that, because I haven't looked at anything Facebook ad related. I haven't looked at any YouTube videos on how to do it. So this is all brand new, and it's something I really want to just kind of figure out, test the waters. Once again, drop $100, see how ads work, understand it, and then improve it from there. So it'd be great.
That's good. Cool. Well, thank you, Joe.
All right, Matt. Well, good luck. Enjoy your day, and I'll see you soon, Bill. Thanks.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Hope you enjoyed the very first interview on the $1 Million Merchant. And if so, please do click that like and subscribe button. And as always, I appreciate any and all feedback, so feel free to leave a comment. And I'll see you in the next video.